Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Hippie's Chopper Corner, where I got them sketchy ass dogs. Oh, so Sunday morning, filmed quite a bit of content yesterday and lost quite a bit of content yesterday. Twice I lost some content. So by the time you watch this, I will already have uploaded part one. That I didn't get to show the stance of this. I got the seat pan finished up. I don't remember what all I showed in my first video. I don't remember, but I got the seat pan mount done, which it'll just mount right here, and then the front of the seat pan, I took an exhaust bolt, you know how they're square, and drilled it, tapped it, and I just drilled the backbone. And I'll just push that down in there, and then it mounts in the back, and then the seat ain't going anywhere. I ran out of gas, so I got some really ugly tacks right there. I had just enough gas to weld that in. But I tacked that in there to keep this rigid, even though I believe that is 16 gauge steel. I put that in there, but I'll do some 3-inch foam on here, so I'll never feel that on my little booty. I wanted to see how she was going to stand with a 6-over front end on it, and it's got a pretty bitchin' stance to it. You know, it leans quite a bit. But River, come over here. Quit messing with them bugs. Them bugs ain't hurting you none. Don't touch the screen. Back up a little bit. So it's got a pretty good stance to it. Which I'll probably bend that kickstand down and back out, because I'd really rather have it standing more like that. Because when you lean one way over like that right there, and then you're right here, you know, trying to start them, they're not as easy to start, but it's got a great stance to it. I'm going to put some 16s on it, probably like what's on the FLH. I'll put some taller bars on it. I may put floorboards on it, but I'll be sitting a little more forward and a little higher by the time I get it set up, but it's got a great stance to it. Boy, you gotta love them springers. So, the rest of this video I want to focus on. No, River, you don't have to do it like that, bro. Just film me. We did get some riding in yesterday. I got to ride that one. Like I said, it's got an oil leak. As much as I hate to, I'm probably going to have to pull the primary off of that one to get that inner primary off of it and get them hoses and vents out. I think I got to replace the cork in the oil cap because it's leaking. And just some more, a little maintenance here and there as I go on that bike. Of course, every time my wife rides her bike, she never puts it up, does she?
No.
She leaves it out there for Big Daddy to have to put up.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. So the reason I pulled this one out, this is one that's got the 73 motor in it that went down to really low compression. And I've said this before, but I'm putting that stroker back in it. I don't know if I'm doing that today or not. So what I want to talk about is, I ain't got to watch it yet, but I've talked to Slickhead over at Slickhead Custom Cycles about it. Big Ed Zilla, he's got that Sportster, and I've got to watch his video, but I believe he's talking about rewiring it, so I wanted to just walk through the simple wiring that I did on this one, and if that'll help Big Ed out, cool. But Billy Lane put out a killer video. Y'all see how that whole clutch basket moves? It shouldn't. But the reason it does that, and I've got one, y'all check out Billy Lane's last video, man. He's got a killer video on clutches. Right there. That plastic piece right there, that clutch hub retainer, that takes away your clutch walking. It's actually sitting on here upside down. It goes on here like this. And if you'll notice, and he said it in his, it's got numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's counterboard. And it's set up for snap rings. And when you slide that on and push it all the way down, you put snap rings on it. That will keep your clutch basket from moving around. And he made another good point too. Take your clutch plates, take your fiber plates, drill them dudes out to 24/64. I never thought about that. They slide so much easier on your clutch. So those are all upgrades I'm going to do to this clutch basket too. And I'll order another one of those clutch retainers for this one as well, because it just gives you so much better clutch control. And what you do, and he showed it in his, is you pull those springs out and you replace that metal retainer with that plastic one I got. Now that one's got upgraded bearings in it, or that one of them does. But that being said, and as soon as I get that tank, which I'm going to do it today, I don't know if I'll film it. I'm not going to fully mount it, but I'm going to go ahead and drill. I've already got one drilled in this one. Drill those out to the size I want. Drill this one out to the size I want. I can then take these 3 tanks and 2 fenders to my painter. And one day next week, I'm going to his shop, and I'm going to do, not to use Slick's title, but see what he's got going in his shop. I started talking about that in yesterday's video that I'm hoping you've already watched, but then I ran down a rabbit trail and never finished what I was saying because I'm bad about that. But Big Ed, if you're watching, bro, my suggestion with that iron head is, and I think it's Slick's suggestion too, I haven't read Slick's comment, but it's do away with the horn, do away with the turn signals, and do away with the high beam switch, man. Just wire your headlight up high beam all the time. Clean your handlebars up. You can take that on-off switch, hardwire it together, hide the wire, and just run you a little push-button starter right here. Not have nothing up on your controls, have it clean. But the way I wired this one up, and it may look like a mess, but I've got circuit breakers. I don't use a fuse box. I have my switch, power on, power off. See the headlight come on, see the headlight go off? I run power to a circuit breaker first. So switch to a circuit breaker, then to the other circuit breaker, I run power. And off that other circuit breaker, I run my headlight and my tail light and my brake light. Those are the 3 I run off that. And then my voltage regulator goes back to the switch one. It goes back to feed my battery. The particular brake light that I use, which most of them are, it's a 2-wire light. I've got 1 wire. See, that circuit breaker doesn't get power till I turn the switch on. That's how I've got it set up. When I turn the switch on, power to the battery, to that from this switch to that circuit breaker to the battery to that switch to that circuit breaker. And once I do that, it lights up my tail light, and then my brake light, which if you follow it down to my pressure switch down there, which you can see it right there. Brake light goes to your pressure switch to the breaker that has power on it when you turn the switch on. That way you're never doing any unnecessary draws on your power. And then when you hit the brake, the fluid closes the connections in there, and that completes your circuit, and it turns your brake light on. And then the headlight, one wire from your powered breaker to the headlight, and then one ground, you know. And I suggest grounding your headlight back to the frame. You know, you can ground it to the bucket, you can ground it to the front end, but you got to keep in mind, I got tapered roller bearings full of grease inside that neck, and every now and then that can affect the ground. So I ground mine back to the frame. Actually, I think this headlight's grounded right there to the voltage regulator bracket. That's my headlight ground right there. But just, you know, fairly simple wiring setup, man. It's not real hard. I probably didn't do the best at explaining all that. And as far as your points go, man, I run my points line to the bottom of my coil. I run 12 volts to the top of my coil. 12 volts comes out of that circuit breaker that doesn't get 12 volts until I turn the switch on. And easy peasy, man, nothing to it. So, I'm not sure where I'm going next. There still is some work I can do on this one. Probably, I'm going to leave that in a roller. I had to cut the voltage regulator mount off. I had to cut it off that kickstand bracket right there because the particular controls I'm going to use on that from Prison Supply comes with its own kickstand bracket, which will not allow me to put the voltage regulator right here. Now I could weld something off of it, but I mean that's it's just not going to look right. So I just mount it right up there, make a mount for it. Got some welding I can do on it. Here in the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to get the oil tank, the brakes, and the exhaust ordered for that bike, and hopefully start putting this bike back together. But right now I'm just focusing on this one. Probably going to do an engine swap. That's probably going to be my next goal, is get the engine swap done, get that one back in, get that one back running good, and be able to ride this one and that one over there while I'm waiting on the panhead to get done and waiting to get this one finished. So, yep, just to follow up from yesterday's video, I'm sorry I left it like I did. I spent about 5 hours out here in the shop yesterday, which was Saturday when I filmed the video that you're probably going to see Sunday night. This is Sunday morning right now. I'm going to drop part 1 here in a little while, and then this is part 2 I'll drop on Monday. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my continuing subscribers. Thank you to everybody that comments. Man, I'm getting a lot of comments these days. That's really cool. I really appreciate it. I know I don't have much going on today, and this might be just a little bit of a boring video, so I'll keep it short. But just to finish up what I was doing yesterday, I had something personal come up. I had to take off and go take care of something, so I didn't get to finish filming yesterday. So I've got to turn this one into a 2-part. But shout out to Slick up there. I know he's got one going to drop, working on that pan head that he's got up there. And, man, I'll see you guys soon. Until then, keep it sketchy, man. Hippie's Chopper Corner, home of the sketchy chopper, where we keep them sketchy all the time. Man, that's just a good-looking bike.